Providers Pre-Implementation Adjustments Bill amends two acts of Parliament passed by a Labour government in 2008. Both acts passed with support from National, and we supported this bill too. Different from Ms. Shanks, who just resumed her seat, I can see and appreciate why a bipartisan approach has been taken. The Labour government passed the Financial Advisors Act 2008 to ensure that financial advisors were subject to tighter rules of professional conduct and competence. And the Financial Service Providers Registration and Dispute Resolution Act 2008 established an independent and free dispute resolution service for consumers who have problems with financial advisors or service providers. And this bill, as Honourable Simon Power stated this evening, is aimed at simplifying the implementation of the Financial Advisors Act and reducing costs while encouraging public confidence in the industry. A media statement released by Workplace Savings New Zealand in December 2009 is very helpful in understanding the difference between what it called as a real provider of financial services, such as a bank, and an employer who merely promotes, for instance, a superannuation scheme for its workers. Its executive director, Bruce Kerr, said the concern of his organization was for employers who make retirement savings arrangements available to their employees through the workplace being caught by the definition of a financial service provider. He said the organization had worked hard with officials to develop appropriate relief mechanisms without which such an employer would need to register as a financial service provider and join a dispute resolution scheme. For employers who want to help their employees save through a registered superannuation scheme or KiwiSaver scheme, the proposed changes will help exempt them from the need to register as financial service providers. Honourable Leanne Dazelle, in her speeches on the two bills' third reading in 2008, explained respectively the purposes of the two pieces of legislation. The Financial Advisors Act 2008 was one part of the Labour government's effort to bolster investor confidence after the global credit crunch and a string of finance company failures in New Zealand. The regulations contained in that act focused on financial products instead of financial decisions, as was initially proposed. A tiered approach to advisors was taken, and the legislation enabled the adoption of a qualifying financial entity, or QFE, to reduce compliance costs for institutions with a large number of advisors while ensuring there is appropriate regulatory coverage of advisors within these institutions. The Financial Service Providers Registration and Dispute Resolution Act 2008, as its name suggests, established an independent and free dispute resolution service for consumers. A co-regulatory model was also created, and which industry groups were to develop their own schemes, which then have to be approved by the Ministry of Consumer Affairs. So why does the legislation need to be amended? The minister responsible for the bill, Honourable Simon Power, stated that the new legislation will reduce costs and encourage public confidence in the industry. The bill proposes a number of technical amendments. The main amendments to the Financial Advisors Act relate to the regulation of QFE. The proposed changes include One, a QFE will be able to name representatives, namely individual contractors and agents, whose advice it will take responsibility for instead of automatically being responsible for advice from all its contractors. Two, the ability to provide financial advice or conduct investment transactions in relation to a QFE's Category 1 products without being an authorized financial advisor will be extended to the QFE's named representatives. This is currently only permitted in respect of the QFE's employees. And three, permitting the employees and named contractors to provide financial advisor services for products for which the QFE is a promoter under the Securities Act. Currently, the Financial Advisors Act allows this only if the QFE is the issuer of the product. Those changes are generally welcomed in the industry for the flexibility those changes are supposed to provide. Potentially, those changes will help make the QFE model more appealing for many of those involved in the industry. However, there are some concerns which are worth noting at the bill's first reading. The law firm Kensington Swan, in its financial law updates, listed two reservations with the extension to the QFE model. Firstly, it is unclear whether or not it is intended that an individual can be nominated by more than one QFE. They foresee some major complications ahead with the rollout of such a model. Secondly, at a policy level, these changes risk undermining the Securities Commission's stated desire for regulatory neutrality, or at least create that perception. Expanding the relief from liability under the Financial Advisors Act for nominated representatives runs counter to the objective of individual advisor responsibility. With the help and active involvement of the financial service providers, the wider sector, and the public in the development of the bill, I am confident that the bill will meet its objectives. And let me borrow what Honorable Lian Dazelle said in 2008 on the Financial Service Providers Registration and Dispute Resolution Act 2008, that act, and I hope this bill, would, and I quote, bring financial advice regulation into the 21st century, align us with international best practice, and provide for an appropriate level of investor protection in New Zealand, end quote. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.